On the rolling wheat fields of the Palouse, nothing is given, everything is earned. For the Cougs, today is not just about football, it's about earning respect, and it's time to embrace the fight. Washington State, Portland State in the home opener. A new season and a new era of college football begins right now. Hello and welcome. It's great to have you with us. I'm Davis Hagen alongside Dylan Kiviat, joined down on the sideline by Bailey, if possible. We are thrilled to bring you this presentation of college football on KUGR, the opening game of the 2024-2025 season. Dylan, what is the buzz around this Cougar football season, even though nothing is really the same? When you look out on the landscape of college football, the Pac-12 dissolved, conferences are realigned, there's a 12-team playoff, there's all sorts of rule changes, but what is the one thing that always stays the same is the buzz. So what are we excited about on this season for Cougar football?
Well, it's just a completely fresh start. You know, it's not something we've been through before. Like we've never been in this situation where we've been unofficially aligned with the Mountain West. But you know, it's a fresh start. You know, John Matter. You know, he's ready. He's ready to roll out there, and you know, I think these Cougs are energized and they're really excited for this new year. You know.
Yeah, you talk about Mateer and an offense that was ranked 35th last season for Washington State. Under Cam Ward, who was primarily an air raid guy. He was going to throw the ball all over the field, but Mateer has a slightly different play style, more of a running quarterback. What can we expect from this Washington State offense under a new regime with John Mateer under center?
Yeah, I think we should definitely expect a pass-heavy offense. You know, I'm sure that they're going to try to get the rushing attack going, but I would say that they're going to be looking to pass, you know, early and looking to make some explosive plays, you know, right off the bat.
One of the things that plagued Washington State last year was not having a run game. We only averaged 84.6 yards a game, which is really bad in this modern day of football when if you're only one-dimensional, you're going to get beat almost every week because if your throwing offense isn't going, like we saw against Arizona last year when we lost by almost 34 points, our offense couldn't get anything going on the ground, and they knew we wanted to throw it, and then you know, we're just stuck in the mud.
Yeah.
So this year, trying to get that offensive line and the offense entirely going is going to be huge. And John Mateer can get things going with his legs as well as his arm, and that's what I'm really excited about. Like you mentioned, the new possibilities. We haven't seen John Mateer, so we're looking really excited. And you know what else is good for Washington State is the offensive and defensive coordinators going into their second year. This is really going to help the offense and defensive staff. You know, the coaching staff and the coordinators now getting along, with the system being in a full off season and the players as well. The players is the most important thing. Sure, the coaches can be getting along better in meetings, but having a full off season is so important. And what can John Mateer and this offense do with the second year of Coach Arbuckle just being a more confident play caller, as Jake Dickert said in his press conference earlier this week? What do we expect from this offense in the second year of Arbuckle?
I would say that they're definitely like, It's definitely an improved offense from last year, you know. Rushing wise, you know, things should be a little bit different with no Nikhil Watson, but It should be similar to last year. Offense should be, especially against a Portland State defense that didn't rank too well. Didn't rank too well statistically last year in terms of letting up points and yards allowed and that kind of thing. It was a very, very bad defense last year. So I think we can expect an explosion from the Cougar offense today.
Yeah, I really hope so. Last year against Northern Colorado, it was a similar feel. The stands weren't that packed. It was an FCS school coming into Pullman, and we got off to a hot start. The game was over by halftime. Hopefully today, the game is over by halftime against Portland State. The Vikings coming into Pullman. We lost to Portland State before. That is not good. But this is a whole new team. Everybody that was on that team that lost to Portland State in 2015, not here anymore, almost a decade ago. So this is an entirely fresh scenario. That's in the past. Who are the key players that you're going to watch for on defense and offense for Washington State as we take on the Vikings?
I would say on defense, it's definitely Utah Tech's transfer, Cyrus Webster. He's an X factor. I would say, Stephen Hall is definitely an X factor as well. I would say on offense, look for Kyle Williams. Kyle Williams, he caught a touchdown in the first game last year.
Right.
So I would say, Kyle Williams, he's, John Mader is going to be looking to hit him early and fast, so I would say he's going to be a big X factor. And what about you? Who do you think are like the X factors on offense and defense?
Well, I completely agree with the Kyle Williams, attribution, and saying that he's going to be the best player on the field is true because he's going to be the guy every play. If he's not getting the ball almost half the amount of plays for Washington State, we're doing something wrong. Transfer from UNLV came in last year, was kind of near the bottom of the depth chart with the receivers that we had, but now he's going to have to be the guy, and he said it in his press conference earlier this week. He wants to be the leader on the field for the young guys. He wants to show them the ropes, and I think that's exactly what he's going to do. And I expect a huge season and a big game from Kyle Williams.
Yeah.
And I think on defense, I agree with the Cyrus Webster, but I think Kyle Thornton, the 6-year senior, is going to be a huge leader on the defensive side. Just having that experience, and playing in the Pac-12 in big games, and he was our leading tackler a year ago coming in.
Another guy to look out for is Chris Hudson, the Oregon transfer. So.
Anyways,
yeah, another guy to watch out for is definitely Chris Hudson. Oregon transfer should be something to watch. I think John Matters is going to try to get Hudson and Kyle Williams involved very early in the game. So, look out for those two receivers.
Yeah, you talk about John Mateer, and he's a guy from Little Elm, Texas, that came in last year, played a lot of games. He played in every single game, just didn't make any starts. But I think that was really important because Cam Ward knew, and the coaching staff knew, that he was probably going to leave after last year, whether that was going to the NFL or transferring. The writing was on the wall. And so getting John Mateer in the game and letting him, cut loose, basically, and just having no pressure on him last year was a huge thing. And now this year, a lot more pressure on him, that's for sure. But he's got the experience that was built in from last year to come in now and, really sling the ball around. So we are nearly underway. Washington State just about to run out of the tunnel. The pyrotechnics rolled back out onto the field, and the fans have really creeped in here. We got here around 9:30 a.m. this morning, and there were a lot of fans lined up to come in, and it was a slow trickle. But now the Crimson Sea has arrived in Pullman. The Vikings are a team that's really interesting, that primarily a ground attack team. So the defense is going to have their hands full, primarily on the defensive line. Dante Sacheret and Quincy Craig are going to be two guys that we're got to keep our eye on. And
keep in mind, Quincy Craig, he can catch too. Obviously he's a rusher out of the backfield, but he can catch. He can go in the slot. So Coug's got to make sure to limit him as he's a key X factor in the in that Portland State Vikings offense.
Yep. Well, we are just about to get underway from Gisa Field in Pullman, Washington. We'll be right back after this quick break as the Portland State Vikings and the Washington State Cougars will do battle on week 1 of the 2024 season. beautiful day in Pullman, Washington. The team captains set to make their way out to the Cougar head logo at the middle of the field, and Davis Hagen, Dylan Kiviat in the booth, ready to get things going for KUGR. So, Dylan, we were talking during the break. What is the impact matchup for today, Washington State, Portland State?
I would say, obviously Kyle Williams, all eyes are going to be on him from the Cougar offense, but I would say it's going to be interesting to see how Tyree Shakir is able to match up, against Kyle Williams and see what kind of formations and what kind of different things they throw at John Mateer to see if they can draw him off. It'll be interesting because John Mateer, there isn't much tape on him. We haven't seen much of him, so I think it might take a little bit of adjusting in the first few minutes of of the first quarter and first half, but I think this Cougar offense should be able to get going pretty quickly.
Yeah. The landscape of college football, as we talked about in the open, is entirely different. There's a 12-team playoff, and the top conference champions will get the first 4 byes of the Power 4 conferences, formerly the Power 5. But now that the Pac-12 is no longer there, what does Washington State have to do? Pretty much win every game to get into the college football playoff conversation, let alone because we are not eligible for the Mountain West Conference Championship. We have to win every game, and very convincingly, and it starts right now.
Yeah, well, the thing is that the Cougs, Washington State's always played with a chip on their shoulder, and it's no different this year, especially, this is the first year, of not being in the Pac-12. So, it's nothing new, really. Washington State's always kind of had that underdog mentality. So, I think just adopting that and really just, taking it game by game, you know what I mean? Today is Portland State, next week is Texas Tech.
Right.
Just take it one game at a time, you know what I mean? But also, another thing is obviously the Cougs got off to a great start. Last year 4-0. A key thing for them is not take their foot off the gas pedal. You know what I mean? Especially in this game, if they're up early, because it is a very common thing for Washington State to be up early in the game, as we saw a lot of times last year. 4 different games where they were up and they ended up losing. So it's very important for Washington State if they get off to a fast start. In the second half, they keep up that tempo. They keep up that that composure, and they keep that mentality of never letting up. So that's the main thing here. The Cougs can't get ahead of themselves and let up in the first half.
Got to keep the main thing all season long. Washington State electing to receive the opening kick. It'll be Matthias Uribe, the Portland State kicker from San Dimas, California, to get us started from week 1 of the college football season. Portland State and Washington State about to get ready to go. It's Leighton Smithson back deep to return for the Cougs. Referees spotting the ball on the X. They're going to kick it right to left to get things going early. Crowd energized, ready to go. It's a beautiful sunny day. No cloud in sight.
Got good attendance for tonight.
An afternoon game in Pullman, Washington typically doesn't see this much of a turnout, so it's really nice to see the Cougar fans coming out to celebrate college football. Uribe set to kick, and we are underway, and it'll be returned at the goal line by Leighton Smithson. He's got a crease up the near sideline, and Leighton Smithson hit at around the 30-yard line, and he falls forward to the 31-yard line, and out comes John Mateer and this Washington State offense. First down and 10, moving left to right on the near hash. John Mateer, 6'1", 219 pounds, from Little Elm, Texas. Last year served as the backup, but he played every single game. He went 13 of 17 for 235 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Empty set to start. Javinsky Schlenbaker, the starting running back. We got trips to the far side. Mateer heels on the 25-yard line. Motion Schlenbaker back into the gun off the right hip. Switch him to the left side. Mateer making checks at the line. First play of the season. It'll be a handoff inside to Schlenbaker, and he bounces it to the outside, and Portland State is all over him. Tackle made that time by number 7, Peyton Wing. one of the best players on Portland State's defense. They were in the backfield in a hurry.
Freeman, number 46.
They're going to bring in Anthony Freeman in for Andre Dollar. We're going to have all receivers out there. It's an empty set again. We got 3 receivers to the far side. It's second down and about 12, maybe 13. Schlenbaker motions back to the right hip of John Mateer. Second down throw for Mateer. And the ball bounces off the hands of Josh Meredith, and it's incomplete, bringing up a 3rd and long on the opening series.
Sluggish start here for the Cougs. Very sluggish.
Yeah, got to be able to catch that if you're Josh Meredith, but it just was a real heat-seeking missile coming off the hands of John Mateer. He has a really strong arm, which is one of the reasons that he beat out Zevi Eckhouse. Even though they both have pretty good arms, John Mateer can launch it a country mile. So it'll be 3rd and 13. 2 receivers at the top of the field. Chris Hudson in motion. Mateer looking underneath. Mateer going to go long down the sideline, and there was nobody there. That was intended for Josh Meredith. He was held up by number 3, Zach Woostig. And a good possession opening defensively for Portland State, forcing a 4th and 13. And less than a minute comes off the clock. The Vikings get off the field on 4th down.
Looked like there was a little contact from Woostig, but refs decided not to make the call.
Yeah, I think one of the things you have to consider is the ball catchable. And I think right there on that play down the far sideline, it was way out of reach for Josh Meredith, even if he wasn't impacted by Woostig at all.
An early 3 and out for the Cougs.
Haber to punt it. He was the punter last season, and this ball will bounce at about the 34, and it'll roll into Portland State's favor. And where are they going to mark it? They're going to mark it right at the 35-yard line. So Portland State's offense led by quarterback Dante Sacheret in his 23rd consecutive start. He's a really experienced quarterback, kind of on the other side of the coin from John Mateer making his first ever start. Dante Sacheret, 23 in a row. This is his final season of college football. He's been an incredible player for Portland State. They're going to start in the empty formation as well. 3 receivers to the top of the field. They're moving right to left. Ball on the near hash from the 35-yard line. 1st and 10, Portland State. Check to the sideline. Probably going to see a lot of this today as the in-helmet communication is not available for the FCS teams. Sacheret heels on the 30. First play of their season is a throw. Sacheret going to dump it off. This pass is caught that time by number 17, Quincy Craig, the running back. And a nice gain on 1st down. Ball placed at the 41-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 4. Tyson Durant, one of the leaders on the defense, going to be making signals, but the guy with the green dot is number 52, Kyle Thornton, the senior linebacker, 6-year senior. 2nd down and 4, Portland State. It'll be an option pitch to Quincy Craig on the far side. Makes a cut upfield, and Kyle Thornton right there to wrap him up and take him down. The senior linebacker, definitely the most experienced guy on this Washington State football team. Led the team in tackles years ago. Can we see more of that all year? Are we going to see him do that consistently, which is what he did last year? He's going to have to be the anchor that holds down this defense.
Yeah, Kyle Thornton is constantly, causing pressure and making a quarterback's life hell, honestly.
Yeah. 3rd down and 3, Portland State. 2 receivers and a tight end to the near sideline. The ball's on the far hash. Number 24, Dylan Thompson, checks into the game. It's a handoff up the gut to Thompson, and he's got a seam. He's got a burst. DeLon Thompson racing down the sideline. DeLon Thompson's going to go. Is he going to get cut? And he's tracked down at the 5-yard line by number 2, Jackson Latimore, but a huge run for Portland State.
Deon Thompson out of Newbury Park, California, making an impact quick here. Wow.
Portland State already down to the 5-yard line. It's 1st and goal, Vikings, and they're threatening.
Wide open gap that just got created there, and Cougs had no answer in the backfield there.
Sacheret throws it to the end zone, and it's incomplete. Coverage by Kapena Gushikin. Ball intended for number 13, Eric Denham. So Dante Sacheret so far hasn't used his legs, which is what we were expecting a lot of. Last year we saw Dante Sacheret and Quincy Craig, kind of just destroying teams with their legs. And that time it was DeLon Thompson that got him all the way down. inside the 10-yard line for a 1st and goal. But Sacheret is very dangerous. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a power run from Sacheret. We got a 3 tight end set in right now for Portland State. There's 3 tight ends on the left side of the offensive line of scrimmage. Ball on the 5-yard line. Handoff. Keeper, actually, Sacheret. Touchdown, Portland State. And Dante Sacheret starts the season off with a QB run touchdown. And the Vikings go up 6-0 on an opening drive statement.
Yeah, it looked like there was a lack of communication from the Washington State secondary there as DeLon Thompson completely broke out the backfield and took it to the 10-yard line, and then with a quarterback like Dante Sacheret, it's almost inevitable that they're going to score that close in the red zone. So Cougs got to make sure as we can see that Portland State rushing attack could be a problem today for Washington State.
It's definitely going to be a test of this defensive line. And a flag is flying now. Looks like a delay of game on Portland State's kicking unit. They had a lot of confusion going on. First game of the year, you're going to have those confusions on the special team units. Everyone's excited about the touchdown, and they don't get their personnel out on the field. So Uribe will have to be backed up for this extra point, making it a little trickier, but still pretty manageable for Matthias Uribe, who got the game started with the opening kickoff, and now here he is again on the field for the extra point. Good snap, good hold. Kick is up and right down the middle. It's 7-0 Portland State. 12-17 to go. Washington State's defense just got ripped apart on that drive by the ground attack from the Vikings. Not what you want to see for a team that should be dominating this game already, and Washington State's going to need to regroup and understand that this is not going to be an easy game. Portland State has come to play.
Yeah. Especially, coming into today, Washington State heavy favorites. Yeah, Washington State, like we discussed earlier, they have to make sure to, you have to treat every opponent the same. Like, it doesn't matter if you're playing Portland State, doesn't matter if you're playing USC.
Right.
It's still a collegiate team that can beat you on any given day. So Washington State seemed like they completely were a little bit just unprepared for that rushing attack and for that overall offensive display there.
Yeah, all it takes is one play to break everything open, and that's what we saw. DeLon Thompson made a really nice run up the gut and then bounce it to the sideline. And you take away that play, Portland State's offense was still moving the ball, so they probably would have ended up getting there. But yeah, if you give up a huge chunk play, you're going to probably give up a touchdown on every possession. And that's what we saw a lot last year was our defense would get gashed. We would be able to play, we would be able to hold up, and then there would be one big breaking loose play, and all of a sudden now you're backed up against the shout of your own goalpost. And Portland State, a really good rushing team. They're not going to back down, and they're just going to punch you in the face. Yeah. And that's what happened. And so far, Jake Dicker needs to get this team. Well, we got to wake up. I don't know what he's got to do, but they got to wake up, because right now Washington State is just sleepwalking out there.
Yeah. Portland State just looks way more energized. Even on the first drive, it was just a 3-and-out, very vanilla play call. It just seemed like Portland State kind of had more fire out there than Washington State. At the very moment, it's still very early in this game, still 7-0. Yeah. It's still first quarter, but Washington State, if you're Jake Dicker, you gotta be upset with what you've seen so far. Very lackluster, to say the least.
We'll take a quick 30-second break and be back on the other side. You're listening to KUGR. Seven 7-0 Portland State, 12-17 to play. Matthias Uribe getting ready to kick things off again. Leighton Smithson back deep to return for Washington State. Not a good sign that this is the second kickoff already for Portland State, less than 3 full minutes into the game. Reeby set to make his approach.
So far, Portland State has been dominating on the offense side of the ball at 65 yards, total yards versus a -3 from Washington State. Yeah, not a good start here for Washington State.
Smithson lets the ball bounce into the middle of the end zone, and it'll become a 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line for the Washington State offense. Second possession of the game. The first one went nowhere. They went backwards, in fact. -3 yards on their drive, and all of a sudden, there's a lot of pressure on you to score because Portland State came out firing on their first possession. So we will see what happens now for Washington State. They didn't really try the ground game. They went one time to Schlenbaker, and he got stuffed. That was on the first play. So Dylan Payne now checks in at running back, number 30. We saw him last year make a huge splash against Northern Colorado. That's really when he made a name for himself, and he was featured in a lot of games after that. Payne, bubble motion out. Mateer's going to fire a slant pass over the middle. This pass is caught. And a nice play by Kyle Williams.
There's
the
Kyle
star
Williams.
receiver. Ball out to the 41-yard line in a 1st and 10. That's the first down of the season for Washington State. And it's Kyle Williams, who we highlighted in the open, and he's going to be a major player for this team. Second, 1st down, Mateer. Fires to the sideline and just out of reach for Chris Hudson. So now that'll bring up 2nd and 10. Dylan Payne has yet to get a carry, but he is checked into the game, and I think we're going to see a lot of rotation on the defensive ends and running backs today for Washington State. Jake Dickert said early this week that those were the 2 primary areas where he needed to see some things to make some starting lineup adjustments. Cooper Mathers has also checked in at tight end. Got 2 receivers to the bottom of the field. Ball right around the middle at the 41. 2nd and 10. Mateer to drop back. Going to go long to Kyle Williams. And it's incomplete. A little bit underthrown. John Mateer wanted a deep shot, and he had Kyle Williams. He had separation, but he underthrew it. And Williams not able to make the catch, and that'll bring up 3rd and 10. And a defensive line switch for Portland State, going to bring in their primary pass rushers. Number 80, Jaden Brannon.
Yeah, the route was there, and the play was there. It's just, a little bit underthrown by Matter there.
Yeah, Mateer's got to get that ball way down the field, and he can. He has the arm talent to do it. 3rd down and 10. Empty backfield for Washington State. They got 3 receivers to the far side of the field. Mateer, under pressure, escapes, makes the man miss. Can he get to the 1st down marker? Mateer's going to try and get there, and he dives, and he's tackled, and he got the 1st down. How about that effort from John Mateer, the kid from Texas?
What a great effort there to keep the play alive, to scramble, and to get the 1st down on top of that.
Putting his body on the line, and that's what you didn't really have with Cam Ward last year. He had the pocket mobility from Ward, but Mateer is going to lower his shoulder, and he's not going to back down from anybody. We see every time I watch a scrimmage or a spring game from Washington State with Mateer in it, he's always trying to run, and they blow him dead because it's 2-hand touch, and he gets mad every time because he's like, I'm going to run you over, and now we get to actually finally see that in a game. It'll be a handoff to Leo Puluasi. Up the gut for a gain of about 6. Leo Puluasi, his first action of the year. 6'1", running back from Tacoma, Washington. He had 2 games last year, 18 attempts and 105 yards. He did not have a single negative run from a year ago. He's going to go downhill, and he's a really physical runner. And I love to see the running game starting off pretty okay so far. We've only had a few attempts, but right now running the ball pretty well with Mateer and the running backs together. Got trips. Little trip bunch at the bottom of the field. Ball in the near hash. There'll be another handoff to Puluasi. Makes a cut. Leo dives, and he's down at the 31-yard line. Washington State looking good on this drive. Physical attack with Puluasi, and Schlenbaker's the guy that got the start, and he's a physical back as well, but he's got a lot more speed than the rest of these running backs. Leo, probably more of our power guy, and that's what we're seeing right now. He can break some tackles, and he's also a little bit shifty, but he's not necessarily as fast as Schlenbaker or maybe Dylan Payne. Mathers motions to the left side. Ball on the 30. It's a snap to play action. Mateer going to fire into traffic, intended for Chris Hudson, and that was a dangerous throw. And Mateer got hit right there on the play after he threw it.
He took a big hit there. As
it was Tyrese
seems to be okay here, but might be a little shaken up.
Tyrese Shakir came on a safety blitz. And, Mateer, we got to keep him healthy. We do have Zevi Eckhouse, the transfer from Bryant, who can come in if he needs to, but Mateer needs to stay healthy, especially with the play style that he brings. 2nd down and 10 from the 30-yard line. Play action again. Mateer looking to the end zone. Going for Chris Hudson. Lays out and makes the catch. Touchdown, Cougars! Chris Hudson. Hello!
The diving play there. No one could have seen that coming. And Chris Hudson, the UO transfer, making an impact already as he makes a highlight diving play at the corner of the end zone. It's a 7-7 ball game now.
Chris Hudson has
Or
only
six.
scored 2 career touchdowns, and now he has 1 for the Washington State Cougars. That's their first touchdown of the year. What a way to start it. They were out in a swinging gate, and they motioned everybody back in. Dean Janikowski to kick the extra point. What an electrifying drive from Washington State. That's exactly what you need. That's a shot in the arm. Snap hood, good. Kick is off the upright, but it bounces through. Janikowski was 44 for 44 last year on extra points. Then he starts 1 for 1. Has not missed a kick in the last 2 seasons. So it's 7-7 with 10 minutes to go. Really nice answer from Washington State's offense. What do you think about that drive, Dylan?
Oh, that was incredible. They got Chris Hudson involved. Obviously, we saw Kyle Williams make a few dynamic plays. They got the rushing attack. That got going. That was a very promising drive compared to the first drive that opened the game. So
it was a really well balanced drive is the thing that stands out to me. We ran the ball really well, and then we throw it into the end zone for a touchdown. And we had a chance earlier in that drive with Mateer trying to throw it down the sideline to Kyle Williams that was underthrown. If he makes that play, we score probably a minute sooner. So everything is looking up right now on the offensive side after that drive. The first drive was very gloomy. It did not look like we were ready to play. Now defense just has to come out and make some plays. Portland State, they're going to score some points. It's okay. You're not going to really expect a shutout against, any team, especially nowadays with the way offenses can play, and especially the quality of quarterback and running back in Dante Sachere, Quincy Craig. But so far, so good after the first drives. Now is when the game really starts. The first drive of the first game of the season. I mean, the only players you've been tackling have been your own colors. Now you're seeing a different colored jersey for the first time. It's a little cliche, but these guys want to get out and hit a different colored jersey, and that's what Jake Dicker was saying. His first game is a game of rules and principles. Right now, Washington State needs to get back to what they do well, and that's play pretty consistent football. I mean, we saw that last year. They played consistently as long as they were in a game. If they get out of hand, the game's over. But when they are in those close, tight, competitive games, they play pretty well.
Yeah, and keep in mind, this is a Portland State defense that struggled last year. They were allowing 32 points a game. Almost 350 359 yards, passing yards per game. Like, this is a Portland State defense that struggled last year. So, Washington State, has to, really attack that defense, because that's their Achilles heel.
As a team, Portland State has struggled the last 8 seasons under head coach Bruce Barnum. That's 8 straight losing seasons. Under 500 is the qualification for that. Bruce Barnum was the interim coach, just like Jake Dicker. He came in and he had a fantastic season in 2015 when we, in fact, beat the Washington State Cougars. He won Coach of the Year in the Big Sky, but since, it's been pretty underwhelming for Portland State. He's been the head coach now for 10 years. This is his 10th season. And 8 straight losing seasons is not good, but you have to consider the fact that it is Portland State. It is an FCS level, and they have really tough schedules. Right now, this season, they play 2 FBS teams, and I think 7 or 8 teams ranked in the FCS top 25. So they've got their hands full, and I think they're a really good opponent. I think it's really nice for Washington State to start out. Last year we played Wisconsin, and that was a tough start to the season. This year, hopefully, we can get our gears oiled up and get ready to go for the season, but cannot take Portland State for granted, as we've learned on that first drive.
Yeah.
Washington State set to kick it away. Brandon Alvarez back deep to return for Portland State, along with DeMarcus Houston.
One of the main storylines from last year, and the Portland State team kind of got shed in a bad light. They lost 81-7 to Oregon last year.
Yeah.
So
that ball will bounce into the end zone, and it'll be a touchback, so out to the 25. And you mentioned that Oregon game last year. So number 81, Chance Miller, was the only player to score in that game. In fact, he went to the same high school I did, so that's a pretty neat fact. But they got throttled by the Ducks at 81-7, and then they turn around and beat a team 91-0. So this team can definitely put up some points, cannot take it for granted. And that Oregon Duck team last year was really good. And, you know, as unfortunate and embarrassing as it was to lose 81-7, I mean, that's just kind of what would happen to any FCS school probably if they played the Ducks a year ago. 1st and 10 from the 25-yard line. Sachere in a two-back set. Hand off to Thompson. Up the gut again, and he's got another burst. And it's a first down. Almost. Maybe not. Maybe a 2nd and inches.
Portland State's really getting both their backs involved here with Thompson and Craig, you know, kind of flip-flopping out of the rotation. Washington State has got to figure out an answer to this rushing game as it's been a problem here so far.
A trips bunch right off the hip of the tackle. They're going to motion all 3 receivers to the right side.
Portland State, 68 rush yards versus a Washington State 26. So they're definitely dominating the ground game right now as Washington State recovers there. But nice tackle.
Good tackle by the entire defensive unit led by David Gusta on that play. David Gusta, apologies. A nice run that time up the gut, stuffed. And it's 3rd and inches. They bring in the heavier set defensive line. They take out Cyrus Webster, the pass rush unit. And they're expecting a power run from Portland State. They bring in Quincy Craig. They have that 3 tight end set again off the right hip of the right tackle. 3rd and inches from the 34, about the 32-yard line. And there's some confusion in the backfield. They're going to pitch it out to Quincy Craig, and the defense is there to make a play. Number 95, Andrew Edson, with a really nice pursuit. And it's going to bring up 4th down, and the punt unit probably going to come on for Portland State. What a job by the defense that time. A little confusion in the backfield. I think Quincy Craig and Dante Sachere went the wrong way. The handoff mesh was completely messed up, so they turned it into a speed option, which was a pretty creative play. But the defense was, by that point, already on top of it.
Nice bounce back drive there for the Washington State defense. After that huge explosion run play from DeLon Thompson. But yeah, nice looking defensive drive there for Washington State.
Tony Johnson onto punt, and there will be a timeout instead. Timeout called by Portland State, their first of the half. So 8 minutes to play, 7-7 is our score. We'll be back after this quick break. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Blues. Seven to 7, 8 minutes to play. In other Coug-related news, Kyle Manzardo has been recalled to the Cleveland Guardians, and he'll make a major appearance for the September call-ups. He was on the Guardians and then got sent back down, but now he's going back up to the majors, so that's pretty exciting news in the baseball world for Coug fans across the world. Punting team on for Portland State. Blasted away, spiraling punt. Fair catch called for at the 25 by Anthony Freeman, and that's where the Cougar offense will start from the left hash, moving left to right. It was a nice punt that time from Tony Johnson, the 6'5", 180-pound junior. He was first-team all-conference at the College of the Canyons in California, so they bring in a nice punter, and he flips the field entirely. The ball is on like the 31-yard line, and they flip it all the way to the 25, so a pretty good punt. That's always valuable to have a good punter. We have one in Nick Haber who can flip the field in a heartbeat. So now our fourth running back that we will see is Wayshawn Parker, the true freshman who was really, really impressive in the spring game this year and all throughout fall camp. First and 10 from the 25. Mateer on a handoff to Wayshawn Parker. It's a draw, and Parker's got a lot of room down the sideline, and he steps out of bounds. Wayshawn Parker with a really nice run, spotted at the 45-yard line. First down, Washington State, 15 yards on the play.
Wayshawn making an impact already. The redshirt freshman, he's hungry and he wants to prove himself. And as of right now, I think that RB1 position is kind of up for grabs right now. So.
Quick screen to Chris Hudson on the near side. Falls forward for about 5 to the 50-yard line. Yeah, I agree. The running back spot completely wide open, and everybody's going to have to prove themselves. Right now, Leo Pulasi had a few good carries last drive. Wayshawn Parker with a really nice run right there. Dylan Payne didn't get a chance to tote the rock, but also a pretty good player. And Javensky Schlenbaker, the starter, got a run, had negative yards. But I think that's really promising to have running back by committee. Any one of those players, I'd be totally happy with being the starting running back. Trey Shackelford in motion. Handoff inside to Parker. And he's immediately met by that defensive front by Portland State. That's Michael Montgomery with the tackle. Brings up second. Brings up 3rd and 5. That was second down from the 50. 3rd and 5. They're going to check to the sideline. Dickert all the way out right near the numbers. He's really far out there on the field. From the 50. 3rd and 5. Mateer walks up to the line. He's got 13 seconds to snap it. Handoff up the gut to Wayshawn Parker. Spins, and he is met by the Portland State linebacking core. And that's going to bring up 4th down. Washington State probably going to go for it after that play call. That tells you everything you need to know. And typically when teams run it on 3rd and medium, they're going for it. So they only need 2 yards. It's put up or shut up time for this offensive line. You got to earn your keep right now. And they're going to bring in Javensky Schlenbaker, the starting running back who started today, but not necessarily the starter of the future. They got 2 tight ends in, Andre Dollar and Cooper Mathers. They got a lot of meat on that offensive line to try to push the pile forward. 4th and 2. To keep the drive alive. Handoff to Schlenbaker up the gut, and he's got the first down and more. Javensky Schlenbaker out to the 41-yard line, and it's a first down for the Cougs.
Got quite the steady diet of the rushing attack here so far. As we've seen Schlenbaker get involved. We've seen multiple guys like really make an impact here.
We've got a lot of substitutions so far early. 2 receivers come in, Trey Shackelford and Anthony Freeman, along with the running back Leo Puluasi. Schlenbaker made a really nice run on 4th down to pick up the first, and Leo Puluasi gets the opportunity now. 1st and 10 from the 41. Mateer, slant pass, caught. Shackelford breaks a tackle. Trey Shackelford, touchdown, Cougs! 2 passing touchdowns on the day for John Mateer. What a start to his starting career as a Cougar. Trey Shackelford, the transfer from Austin P, getting into the action with his first catch, and it's a touchdown.
This Washington State receiving core has done some damage today. As first Kyle Williams and Chris Husson, and now Shackelford too.
Janikowski tacks on the extra point, and he's still perfect. 14-7. Washington State has answered the thrown punch by the Portland State Vikings. And so far, great performance from John Mateer through the air. He's been very decisive. That play was a 2-step drop, get the ball out over the middle to Trey Shackelford, and the rest is all Trey. So 14-7, 4:48 to play in the first quarter. It started pretty dark for Washington State, getting shut out, on the first drive, in fact, negative yards. And then Portland State goes down the field and scores. But Washington State has really answered the bell. 14-7 now for the Cougs, who have really shown some resiliency in this game, even though, Portland State maybe not going to be the toughest opponent if you can get your foot in the door and then just blast that open and then you're right through. But Portland State has put up a little bit of a fight so far, but this is exactly what you want to see from Washington State. As we talked about this on the last drive, a perfect response.
Yeah, I feel like, Washington State, to begin the game, they had to shake off some rust. It's been a while since they played again. Well, same here at Portland State, but, looking a lot more, energized and fresh here, to end this first quarter.
Kickoff back through the end zone and a touchback. Portland State offense coming out. Dante Sacheray, not a terrible day so far, only 6 passing yards. 65 rushing yards for the Portland State offense. Dante Sacheray has been pretty limited. He does have the touchdown for Portland State. But the only drive that was successful for Portland State was that first one when they went right down the field from DeLon Thompson, who had a really nice run, and he will trot out on the field with Quincy Craig. A 2-back set for Portland State. Quincy Craig also ability to play wide receiver. Ball will be on the 25-yard line for this Portland State offense. Quincy Craig and Dante Sacheray, both team captains for Portland State. Tight bunch set again. Hand off to Thompson up the gut. And he's blasted immediately by the defense of Washington State, and no gain on the play, maybe a half a yard. Graham Stevenson getting the start today at defensive end was the man on the scene for the Cougars. Shutting down that run game is going to be crucial to the success for Washington State. Another 2-back set for the Vikings. Quincy Craig shifted from wide receiver into the backfield after the last play. Ball on about the 25.5-yard line, moving right to left for Portland State. It'll be a drop-back throw for Sacheray. Quick out. That pass is caught by Denham, and he's met by Jackson Latimua. Kapena Gushakin with the tackle. The nickel, who made a really nice play last year against UCLA with the pick 6 right before the half. Kind of earned his stripes there and has not looked back since. He's been a really good contributor for this Washington State defense. Empty set for Portland State. 3 receivers to the near side. Ball on the far hash. They moved backwards that half yard they gained on first down. It's 3rd and 10 from the 25. Washington State blitz backs off. Cyrus Webster forcing Sacheray out of the pocket, and he's going to throw it away over the bench.
Cyrus Webster already making an impact on the edge, causing pressure, making Sacheray panic, and he ultimately throws it away. And
really good pressure that time off the edge from Cyrus Webster, the Utah Tech transfer. 7 sacks and 11 tackles for loss. He is Utah Tech's all-time sack leader. A really valuable transfer portal ad for Washington State, who lost Brennan Jackson and Ron Stone a year ago to the NFL, which is always good for a program to have your guys leave to the NFL, and that's the reason you don't have them on your team anymore. Portland State out to punt on 4th and 10, and we're going to get another whistle, and it's another delay of game on Portland State's special teams. They have been really all over the place trying to get those players out there.
Yeah, Portland State, as we talked about earlier, Washington State seemed like they're a little discombobulated to start the game. It seems like Portland State might be a little discombobulated now.
Yeah, I think that first drive probably scripted, and they knew exactly what they were doing, and now they're just playing free, and it's not working out. From the 20, they'll punt it. Kick is away, and a fair catch called by Anthony Freeman right around the 43-yard line, and it'll be 1st and 10, Washington State. The offense rolling right now. 14-7, the score with 3 minutes and 14 seconds to play. What do you think is going to happen on this drive? Do we go back to the ground, try to run it, establish the ground game because we know we can pass it, or do you go right back to the air and try to run up this score?
I would go right back to the air. It seems like on both both sides of the receiving line. We have Chris Hudson and we have Kyle Williams, and they're direct impact players. So I would, if I were offense coordinator here, I would, attack the pass game.
From the 43, 1st and 10, Washington State moving left to right. 3:14 to play in the first quarter, 14-7. Play action. Mateer's going to float one down the left sideline for Kyle Williams. Makes the catch. Williams, touchdown. Cougars, one play. Huge touchdown for the Cougs.
There's Kyle Williams again. Kyle Williams having himself a Madden type of stat line here already. It's only the first quarter, and he is killing it right now.
57-yard touchdown pass. John Mateer, 3 touchdowns in this first half. Streaking down the left. They tried that earlier, and he underthrew it. This time it was dropped in a bucket. Washington State out in a swinging gate formation. Motion Andre Dollar, and they snap it directly. This is Billy Revere, and he's into the end zone. 2-point conversion. Cougars go up 22-7. And a statement extra point for Washington State, going up with a 2-point conversion to make it a 15-point lead. And they have thrown the second punch against Portland State. That is now 3 passing touchdowns for John Mateer, 1 to each starting receiver, Chris Hudson, Kyle Williams, and Trey Shackelford. That one, the deepest of them all, 57 yards for number 10.
This new look Washington State receiving corps is looking, promising so far. Obviously, we already knew Kyle Williams was, a piece of the offense, but, Shackelford and Hudson are making an impact right away. And 22 unanswered points here.
An exciting brand of football by the Cougars, coming out hard after getting, stomped on that first drive. They have not looked back since. Portland State back to return Brandon Alvarez and Christian Grubb. And that's going to be another touchback for Washington State, not allowing any sort of return. Ball will come out to the 25-yard line. Dante Sacheret and the Portland State offense back out. They've been stonewalled the last few drives by this Washington State defense. The only real difference in this game of why Portland State has that 7 on the scoreboard is that one run by DeLon Thompson that set them up 1st and goal at the 5, and then Dante Sacheret punched it in. Other than that, Washington State has been very sound defensively. So, Nusi Milani, the team captain, in at right defensive end, didn't get the start. That was Ram Stevenson that got the start, but the right end position, just like running back, is up for grabs. Play action, quick screen pass to Denham, and he slips and falls, and that's an immediate tackle for Washington State. And the ball will go to the 21. They lose 4 yards. And, they set up a screen pass 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and when your receiver just slips and falls immediately, that's just throwing it backwards is probably what Portland State's going to have to do because these Washington State corners are very physical. Ethan O'Connor and Steve Hall. Jake Dickert's been really high on Ethan O'Connor, who had recruiting offers from Alabama, LSU, and Georgia, and chose Washington State over all of them. From 21, Dante Sacheray fires it out quick and just out of the hands of Quincy Craig. The running back gets incomplete. Brings up third and really long for Portland State. Not a lot in the playbook for third and long.
Washington State's done a great job at limiting Quincy Craig, as you know, right away. Portland State wants to get him involved in the offense. He can catch out. He can run the ball out of the backfield and he can catch out the slot. So they're doing a great job of limiting him as he's he's their X factor as we talked about earlier.
Empty set for Portland State. 3 receivers to the top of the field, 2 on the bottom. Sacheray pointing out the pressure that looks like it's coming. Tariq Al-Ukta backs off. Sacheray looking. Flag flies, and he's got a free shot. This ball is going to be intercepted by number 6, Adrian Wilson, with the interception. There is a flag down, and it'll most likely be a first down for Portland State. The crowd's excited, but they're about to be disappointed, I think. Looked like it probably was going to be holding on Steve Hall on this near side.
Looks like that one's coming back.
He wouldn't let the receiver go, and yep. And it is holding on Steve Hall, so not a good play there because you get the interception. But Dante Sacheray, veteran quarterback, knew he had a free shot, and he took it, and it gets picked off. But so visually, it looked great for Washington State, except for the penalty, which Sacheray knew it and took advantage of it. That's some type of things you see in the NFL with these veteran quarterbacks. They get the offsides or a penalty. They just take a shot because you're going to get the ball back no matter what. You might as well take a free shot. So it's third, should be first down. I don't know. It says third down on the sticks, but it should be first and 10. The holding call should give them an automatic first down. And now they're finally going to switch it here. Here we go. First and 10. They gave him a 3rd and 5, which Washington State started playing the Jaws theme like it was third down, but an automatic first down after that holding call on Steve Hall. So first and 10 from the 31. 2-back set for Portland State. Hand off to Quincy Craig. Cuts it up the gut, and he's got a lot of room. Quincy Craig bouncing off tacklers, and Quincy Craig all the way out to the 45-yard line.
Quincy Craig is quite the shifty back. He can not only burst the hole, but he can shake a few tackles off and really explode.
Very elusive. Slippery is what I would use to describe him. 1 minute 50 to play. 22-7. Washington State. Ball on the 45-yard line. 2-back set again. It's the same formation. This is going to be a speed option for Sacheray. He's going to pull it down and throw it over the middle. This ball is caught by the tight end at about the 25-yard line. That's number 89, Tanner Beeman, with a really nice vertical stretch play up the hash. And Sacheray floats it over the top of it. It's a first and 10. Jackson Lanaimua makes the stop, but it wasn't after the big play. Sacheray pulls it down, and he's hit from behind. The ball is free, and it's scooped up by Kiviat, and he's going to run down the sideline. There's no one there to catch him. Gushikin all the way. Touchdown, Washington State, untouched. Scoop and score for the Cougs.
As this game is getting ugly fast, we couldn't have called this one. 7-0. Cougs left 7 points, and now 31. Or the score hasn't updated yet.
28 should be 28-7. We went for 2 last time. How about that? Absolutely electrifying from Kiviat Gushikin. Pressure put on, I believe, by number 95, Andrew Edson, who Dicker was also really high on in the press conference. That might get you a starting spot.
A scoop and score like that, that's all you really need for a promotion there.
Yeah. What an electrifying play. Really good pressure put on by Edson, but I don't know if we got to him in time. My gut is telling me that this is probably going to be an incompletion because of the way Sacheray has his arm on the ball.
Yeah, I thought initially it was an incomplete pass.
The ball went really far. Yeah. Typically when the ball goes that far, all the way out to about the numbers, there was a lot of force on that ball, so he's probably throwing it, and this ball might come all the way back. It's up to the white hat to decide. Washington State last year, their defensive unit led the nation in touchdowns. They had 5, and this ball is going to be. They're taking the kicking team off the field, and it's going to be an incomplete pass, and that is just heartbreaking, I think, because that was an awesome play.
Yeah, that really was.
Now it's like it never happened. But credit to the officials for letting the play, go and then deciding to call it back. You can always review it later, but you can't let them play it out if you blow the whistle. So I think that's a perfectly executed play by the officials. And I do agree. I think it was probably an incomplete pass. So Portland State with a huge break, though. And it's an incomplete pass, and the crowd hates it. It's the right call, but not the one that Washington State was looking for. So you can scratch that one from the memory bank because it's now 2nd and 10 instead of a touchdown, and the extra point looming. It is 2nd and 10, Portland State. DeLon Thompson, the running back, has checked in for Quincy Craig. All on the 26-yard line. Sasheray fumbles the snap. The ball is free, and he scoops it up. At the 30, he curls on it. But a mishandled snap from Dante Sasheray.
And, that was just a drop by Sasheray, and, almost led to another takeaway from the Washington State defense.
Empty set for the Vikings. 3 receivers to the top of the field. His ball is on the left hash at about the 31-yard line, just about. Sasheray on 3rd and long. Going to go to the air. He's going to pull it down and run. Defense gives chase, and Sasheray steps out of bounds at about the 26-yard line. So field goal unit will come on. They're going to try to make it 22-10 if Uribe can put it through. Dante Sasheray did a really nice job to not force that ball. Just take the yardage and make it an easier field goal for the junior from San Dimas, California. And again, Portland State having trouble getting these players on. And that will take us to the end of the quarter. 22-7. Washington State leads Portland State. Dylan, what are your thoughts on this first quarter so far? I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, very impressive first quarter for the Cougs. They got off to a slow start. Initially they let up 7 points, but they bounced back and 22 unanswered points here. So and Kyle Williams looks great as he did last year. Chris Hudson already making an impact. The transfer from Oregon, and Shackelford too. Their whole receiving core has gotten involved here. So offensive display has been great here so far.
22-7. Washington State leads. We will take a quick break and be back for the second quarter. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. $205 total yards in the first quarter for Washington State. They lead it 22-7 over the Portland. For Matthias Uribe, the junior from San Dimas, California. Just around a maybe 40-yard field goal attempt here. Uribe's kick up, and it looks like it's good. So 3 more added for Portland State. Makes it a 12-point lead for Washington State, 22-10. 5 seconds taken off the clock in the second quarter. The kickoff team will now come out. It'll be Uribe again to be featured. He's had a busy day so far. He made the opening kickoff to start the season, made a extra point, and now a field goal. And now do another kickoff. So any expectations for the second quarter? Do you think continue to air it out like I asked you in the first quarter if you wanted to air it out? You said yeah, and then they threw a touchdown. So let's go ahead and say that again so we can score.
Yeah. Well, if we can get the ground game, if we can get the ground game going, get all these running, get the dynamic of the 4 running backs, involved, get Schlenbaker involved, get Pileski and Payne involved, and continue the passing attack is working right now. Why change that? If it ain't broke, why fix it? So. It seems like the Portland State secondary is having trouble with these large chunk plays with the Washington State receivers. So
receivers are having a really easy time creating separation. Uribe to blast it away from the 35. Leon Neal and Leighton Smithson back to return. This kick is not returnable. It'll bounce into the end zone for a touchback. We've only really had one true kick return. And Leighton Smithson made it in the first half, for first quarter. My apologies, it's still in the first half. Ball will come out to the 25-yard line for this Washington State offense. John Mateer, 148 yards passing. It feels like more. It feels like he's almost over 300. He has 3 touchdowns, 148 yards passing. Washington State, 57 yards rushing. I want to see that number get over 100. Is the goal. So Wayshawn Parker and Javinsky Schlenbaker. It's a 2-back set for Washington State to start this drive.
Kyle Williams already has 74 yards, already has a touchdown. So
and off to Wayshawn Parker. Gain. He got back to the line of scrimmage, so he didn't lose anything. But really nothing doing. 2nd and 10 being brought up. Peyton Wing, one of the leaders on this defensive side for Portland State from Sumner, Washington. 20 tackles a year ago in 11 games. You're going to motion Freeman to the far side. 2nd down and 9. Mateer floats it over the middle, and that's way too tall for Anthony Freeman. And it's incomplete, brings up 3rd down and long. Anthony Freeman just 5'8", and he probably thought he was 6'3" on that throw. Yeah. Anthony Freeman's a great athlete. He can jump, but he's not that tall.
Yeah. Mateer air milled that one just a little bit, and that one was a little out of the reach there.
We 3rd down and about 8, maybe 9 for Washington State. Wayshawn Parker, the lone back. Meredith getting set. He's on the far side near the numbers. The motion Meredith back into a stack formation. Mateer going to throw over the middle. Anthony Freeman makes the catch, and that's a 1st down. Right on the money for Mateer that time to the 5'8" receiver. And he's up to about the 46-yard line. 1st and 10, Cougars.
Anthony Freeman.
Another really good strike that time by Mateer. It's like he's throwing darts.
Yeah.
He just, easy, calm, and just deliver it right to the number.
Yeah, Freeman was able to, split through the middle of the field and get open. And
Wayshawn
wow.
Parker has a lot of room, and Parker is going to stay on his feet. Touchdown, Washington State! Wayshawn Parker just went all the way to the end zone. Unstoppable freshman. What a play. Just out of nowhere, accelerating, and the Portland State defense just couldn't grab him.
Just as we highlighted before this quarter started, the first quarter it was the passing attack that got going, and in this quarter it's the rush didn't look back, and Cougs are up 29-10 now.
Extra point good. Still perfect. Wayshawn Parker in the spring game was running wild. And an exciting game so far. Wayshawn Parker adds to it. That's the first ground touchdown of the year for Washington State. And Parker he's got great vision. And he's also a superior athlete. But I think it's the vision that sets him apart. That little crease he finds, and his balance is incredible. I think Wayshawn Parker, as a freshman, if he can stay in this program for 2 or 3 years, he's going to be a really special player. Washington State rolling on Portland State right now, up 19. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. (29-10), 13-19, 13:39 to play in the second quarter. Washington State has erupted on offense, up by 19. Portland State back to return again. Christian Grubb and Brandon Alvarez have not had a chance today. Every kick for the Cougs has been a touchback. And once again, to kick it off. This kick is, again, not returnable. That one hits just in front of the sideline of the end zone. 25-yard line start again for Portland State. Dylan, your thoughts so far on this Portland State offense?
It really feels like the Portland State offense is very one-dimensional. They got Sacheret and they got Craig and Thompson have made an impact, but we haven't really seen too much production out of their receiving core yet. So
very one-dimensional team indeed.
Yeah.
Washington State has seemed to have their number. 1st and 10 from the 25. Hand off to DeLon Thompson right up the middle, and he's met immediately by the defensive line. Cyrus Webster finishes him off. He was met initially by Ansel Dinboo. Played in 10 games last year, had 2 tackles versus Colorado. Got the start over Khalil Laufo. It's made this defensive line very thick on the defensive line, very strong defensively. Holding up pretty well after that first drive and only allowing a field goal in the last one, which was debatable after that scoop and score that was called back. 2nd down and 8. Sachere to throw. Quick out to DeLon Thompson is dropped. And it'll bring up 3rd and long. So far, Portland State has not really tested either of the corners, Steve Hall or Ethan O'Connor. I think Ethan O'Connor is going to be a lockdown guy that probably not going to see a lot of action because he's so good. And the players just for Portland State just aren't his caliber, and they're not a pass-oriented offense. We probably won't hear much of Ethan O'Connor today. And a flag is down. It's going to be a false start on Portland State, and they just keep getting in their own way. False start on number 77. That's Jacob Belton, the 6'7", 320-pound junior from Long Beach, California. He was on Colorado State a year ago. He is a mountain of a man. Pretty easy to see for the officials when a 6'7" guy makes a little twitch.
So far, sorry about that. Yeah, so far today, on the receiving side, Tanner Beeman is leading the charge for Portland State with 29 yards for 1 catch. No one else has really made an impact, though, as Sachere takes off and scrambles. And
that wasn't really a designed quarterback run, but anything is better than nothing, I suppose. But there is just no room out there. This Washington State defense starting to tighten up. Again, it'll be Tony Johnson out to punt. His heels will be on the 16-yard line, and Anthony Freeman, the punt returner for the Cougs. Maybe keep your eyes peeled for a fake if you're Washington State's defense. It's only 3 yards to go. And a delay a game. So Portland State continues to make just really terrible mistakes on special teams with their personnel. Nobody's set until about 3 seconds to snap, and then they're just not ready, and they get their 3rd delay a game on a special teams unit. So now punt out of the equation. It's 4th and 8. That's a long way to go.
Yeah, Portland State, the level of discipline here is just not there, especially on special teams, you know.
That's a short punt, and Freeman will take it off the second hop. Reverses field, makes a juke, and he's taken down by Shakir. And Anthony Freeman, he's a shifty guy, and he almost got away from it. Picked up a few extra yards, and it'll be to the 32-yard line for Washington State. Pretty good starting field position for an offense that's really humming right now. Mateer warming up. He's going to come back out. This Washington State offense so far, 280 total yards.
Yeah.
Really have primarily done it through the air, but we have reached our 100-yard mark, 113 yards after that Wayshawn Parker run. So we've reached over 100 yards on both fronts, which is really good for Washington State. Last year, only averaging 84 yards a game on the ground. We averaged 336 passing yards. This year is probably going to be kind of similar, but right now a little more.
The passing attack for Washington State has just completely outmatched Portland State. 167 passing yards versus 30. It's not even close. Washington State's done a great job at really forcing Sachere to be uncomfortable. Sachere, although he can use his legs, he wants to pass, and Washington State's done a great job at limiting the big plays down the field. We haven't really seen too many big chunks yet from the passing side of things from Sachere. So Washington State defense has really countered well to that that kind of sloppy first defensive possession where Thompson took off for 40 yards and then they got the touchdown after that. So
Cougars rolling right now on the Palouse. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of said Palouse. 11:47 left in the second quarter. Still plenty of time to expand the lead for Washington State. Ball on the 32-yard line. It's 1st and 10 and a fresh possession. Cooper Mathers motions over to the right side of the line of scrimmage. Lay a handoff to Puluasi, and he bounces off a few tacklers, and he's up to around the 40, maybe the 39, and it's a pretty good first down gain. It'll bring up 2nd and short.
Number 20 carried it. Leo
Puluasi just looks like he's running downhill, kind of stumbling, but always moving forward. Enough again to Puluasi, and he makes a man miss, and then he's wrapped up again. Still no negative runs for Puluasi in his Washington State career. That time a 1-yard gain up to the 40 makes it 3rd down and 2. A manageable 3rd down. Washington State, I don't know if we've seen 3 consecutive runs. Maybe we will here. And it's a quick bubble screen to Kyle Williams, and that's going to be an easy first down. And Williams is up the sideline, and he's tackled by the defensive player, number 6. That's number 4, Isaiah Green. Apologies. That's Isaiah Green making the tackle. And if he didn't make that tackle, Kyle Williams was off into the end zone dancing. 1st and 10 from the 48.
Vasquez on the tackle.
First and 10, Mateer. Drops back. Going to float one over the middle. Wayshawn Parker's wide open. Parker, say goodbye. Touchdown, Cougs again. Wayshawn Parker, no one near him, and he is dancing in the end zone for a 2nd time. The true freshman. That starting spot might be calling his name.
Yeah, and another thing is Mater has plenty of time to throw, no like level of pressure at all, and pockets a beautiful pass to Wayshawn. And it's only the second quarter.
10:28 to play in the second quarter too. We're barely into it, and Janikowski has a chance to punch in another extra point. And it's pretty routine at this point for Dean Janikowski. Has not missed, and I don't even know how long. And Portland State, right now, the look on the sideline is pretty defeated. They don't really know what's hit them. It's kind of like a Mack truck just came through their campus and it just derailed them.
Yeah.
They started out pretty high. I think they were riding pretty high after that first drive touchdown. And since they've really sputtered on offense and just haven't really done anything, and their defense can't control Washington State. And it's pretty easy right now for Washington State. Just everybody's wide open. There's really nobody around. There's probably a good 5-yard radius around everybody. And Mateer, like you said, there's no pressure. I mean, John Mateer is a really good player when he has time to throw. I think when he's flushed, he's probably just going to tuck it and run. But when he has time to throw, he can thread the needle. And it's really good to get him that confidence early, because last year Cam Ward was 2nd in the nation in turnovers, and he had to force the ball a lot. John Mateer doesn't want to have to do that. He wants to avoid those turnovers. You don't want to be 2nd in the nation in turnovers. You want to be 2nd in the nation in touchdowns. And right now, John Mateer might just be, because he is having a heck of a day with now 4 touchdown passes. Each touchdown pass, too, has been to a different player, which is really nice to spread the wealth. Kickoff away. And it is not returnable again for Portland State, and the offense will come out to the 25-yard line. This has been their average starting position, probably right around the 25 every time, unless there was that punt early on the first drive, which gave them pretty good field position. And that's the other thing. When Portland State scored their touchdown, they had great field position. They've been backed up with 75 yards of field to operate with, and they just haven't been able to get out of their own half of the field, minus that other field goal drive, which probably should have or could have been a scoop and score for the Cougs going the other way. So 3-back set for the Vikings on. That's Tanner Moku on the tackle. Tanner Moku, the 6', 212 senior from Honolulu, Hawaii. He's a former walk-on, and he has really made a name for himself on this defensive secondary. Going to be the backup this year to Jackson Ladaimua, barring any unforeseen events. 2nd down and 7. Still that same trio in the backfield. This time it's a keeper and a speed option for Sachere, and he is tackled immediately with nowhere to go. Right back to the line of scrimmage Tackle made by Ansel Dinbu. A really nice play along with number 20, Quinn Roth. The defensive ends and the D tackles have been dominating this second quarter. Nothing doing on the ground for Portland State, who relies on the ground game to get things going.
Seems like Sashare's a little frustrated here as just not enough white and just, too much red just all over the field. And Washington State, middle linebackers are just all over the place. They're causing havoc.
Sashare falling backwards, and the pass is caught. What a play by Sashare, fading backwards. Kyle Thornton was all over him, and Sashare floated it up, and the pass is caught by Jalen Lynch, diving back for it. 1st and 10, Portland State at the 41. A heroic play from Dante Sashare, doing everything he can. And that just shows you how hard it is to get a first down for Portland State. It takes a miracle to just get 7 yards. Up to the 41.
Sashare was falling down, somehow made that throw as he was hitting the ground.
1st and 10 from the 41. Sashare gonna float it towards the near sideline, and nobody home for Portland State. Intended target number 3. Terrence Love. But if you're getting beat on the ground, they are doing exactly what they want to do. 3 receivers on the field, 1 tight end for Portland State. Ball on the far hash at the 41-yard line, left to right. Sashare takes the snap on 2nd down. Handoff up the gut. This is Christian Grubb, and he makes a nice play for a gain of about 8.
Delon Thompson, number 24.
Delon Thompson makes the carry. 23 and 24, pretty similar players, and they have very similar run styles. Wouldn't be surprised if Grubb is featured more in the second half. 2 tight ends set. Hand off to Thompson. It's going to bounce to the outside, spins backwards, and he makes the first down yardage by about half an inch.
Again, number 24.
That's a first down for Portland State, and they are marching in a defensive line and also a secondary switch, so almost a full field change, like a hockey line change. It's Nusi Milani, David Gusta, Ansel Dinbu, and Andrew Edson on the defensive line that came in, and corner Warren Smith comes in for Ethan O'Connor. 1st and 10 from the 48. Hand off to Quincy Craig, makes a juke, and Nusi Milani's there to meet him at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play, brings up 2nd and 10. Portland State bringing in some new receivers, Chance Miller and Eric Denham into the game. 2nd and 10 for Washington State's defense is a great position. They've done really well on 2nd down all day. They have forced some pretty hard 3rd downs for Portland State. 2-back set. Down the sideline, and it's caught. What a diving catch by Brandon Alvarez at the 20-yard line. What an athletic effort from the 5'11", 180-pound junior transfer from San Jose State. A diving catch, and all of a sudden, Portland State in the red zone. From the near hash at the 20-yard line. 1st and 10, Portland State. Denham in motion. It's a jet sweep to him. Hits up the left side, and the ball comes out. The ball is out. Washington State jumping on it. Portland State. Who has it? And it's recovered by the offense by Jalen Lynch. A lucky play that time for the Portland State Vikings to get back on the ball. A really promising drive. Almost just fizzles out. Delon Thompson, the running back, has checked in for Quincy Craig. 2 tight end set. We got Beeman and Spence in. Sashare telling Thompson to line up behind him in the pistol. 2nd down.
Lynch on the recovery.
Hand off up the gut to Thompson, and he's met right at the point of attack by number 20, Quinn Roth, with a nice tackle. The ball goes to about the 10-yard line. Is that enough for a first down? And it is. It's a first down and goal
KUGR.
From the 10, they can no longer get a first down. They have to score in the next 4 plays, barring a penalty. The tight trio bunch set again off the right hip of the right tackle, the big 6'7". And off to Thompson, up 2nd and goal. Tariq Alukta, also Buddha Alukta, known as. 8 yards to go to the end zone for this Portland State offense. Time they were in the red zone, they scored. This is where you make your money if you're Dante Sacheret. He can make some magic with his feet. We've seen it already. 8 yards to go. Thompson still in a motion to the right side. To the hip of Sacheret. The trip bunch is now on the left side. Motion the receiver across the formation. Sacheret pulls it down, rolls out to the right. Tuck and run. Sacheret jukes, and he's forced out of bounds. Just back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a gain of an inch, but nothing doing. A lot of effort for no gain, and it's 3rd down and goal. What do we expect from this Washington State defense? You bring pressure, or do you drop back and cover?
I say if I was in charge here, I say you bring pressure, try to sack Sacheret here, put as much pressure as you can on him. Because the thing is they haven't really, on the passing side of things, Sacheret really hasn't done much today. Besides that, that big catch by Brandon Alvarez, force someone to make a play here. Put some pressure on Sacheret and force him to throw the ball. Don't let him hurt you with his legs.
So a timeout called by Portland State. 3:33 to play in the second quarter. It's a 26-point lead for Washington State. The offense is humming. We know that. The defense standing pretty strong in the last few drives, but right now just giving up, chunk play after chunk play. They force them to 2nd or 3rd down, and then they give a first down, and all of a sudden it's 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Portland State has a chance to punch in their 2nd touchdown, but the Cougars have forced a 3rd down and goal, and the last 2 plays have only gone 2 yards. Sacheret is dangerous. If he gets outside the pocket, he can make some people miss, but he's done a really nice job of pretty much commanding the offense. I would say he hasn't done everything you'd like him to do if you're a Portland State fan, but he's done a really nice job of not making any crucial mistakes. The one mistake he did make was called back, and the fumble was reverted to an incomplete pass, and that's really the only mistake he's made. He's been pretty solid, only 72 yards passing, but I don't think he's made any glaring mistakes that I've seen. It's only especially through the air, now up to 227 yards passing. I think John Mateer and these receivers can get open enough to score within a minute, maybe 3 minutes might be too long, and give the ball back to Portland State. You have enough of a separation that it doesn't matter, if you score too fast. Like in a game maybe next week against Texas Tech, at the end of the game, if you go and you're up by 7 and they score, and you go score too fast, you give them an opportunity to come back down the field. But in this case, I don't see that happening. I think anytime you can get a chance to score, you do it, no matter what the time says on the clock. One of the other things to note is that there will be a 2-minute timeout, which is new to college football this year. It is not called the 2-minute warning. It is the 2-minute timeout, and that will happen at exactly 2 minutes. And there's a minute and a half to go until that point. And so that's a built-in timeout. Washington State still has all 3. Portland State offense back out after the timeout. 3rd and goal from the 8-yard line. Sacheret and Craig in the backfield. 2 tight ends set for Portland State off the right hip. They motion into a wildcat formation. Quincy Craig going to take the snap. And he pitches, fake pitch to Sacheret, and Quincy Craig darts up the middle, and he's taken down by Nusi Milani at the 4-yard line. Brings up 4th down and goal. He got half of what they needed. And Portland State obviously going to go for it here. They need a touchdown. field goal really does them no good. And this is where you make your money if you're Washington State defense. They're going to bring in the transfer, Cyrus Webster. Edson's coming in. They're going to bring out Milani and Stevenson.
Portland State try to trick them on on the trickery play there, but Washington State was ready for the call, and huge fourth down here as
fourth down and goal from the 4. Sachere in an empty set. Drops back, pressure coming off the edge, and it's intercepted by Steve Hall. He's got all kinds of room on the sideline, and a cop gets a block, and Steve Hall is in. It's a pick 6 touchdown Cougars. How about that for an answer?
My goodness. What an offensive surgeons from Washington State. Well, the points on the defense side of the ball there, as it was almost just a free cookie right to Hall. Hall took it to the house, and Washington State's up 42-10 now.
There was no receiver even close to Steve Hall. He was just kind of standing by the pylon, and the ball just comes right into his hands. And then he's off to the races, and what a block thrown by Buda Alcuda, the linebacker. And that's the kind of effort and the juice that Coach Dickert talks about. You might not get the interception, but if you block and he scores a touchdown, that's going to be remembered. And if the hold has some trouble, and Janikowski didn't even get the kickoff, John Mateer was under some pressure, and so it'll stay where it is, 42-10, excuse me. It was almost 43 if they could have got the extra point, but the hold was not good. And, that's not good. I mean, the snap was pretty low, I think, and Mateer had to try to get it off the turf and trying to make something of nothing, but just couldn't do it that time, and it's 42-10. But nonetheless, I mean, Steve Hall, team captain this year, he said it was a huge honor to represent Washington State as a captain, and a pick 6 in his first game as, the primary corner. What an event for Washington State. Unbelievable. And, I mean, a lot of these fans probably aren't going to stay till halftime, stay after halftime, but what a show they've put on in this first half. It started out pretty slow, but since they have really put on the afterburners, and it's 42-10.
Yeah, Washington State impressing for the fans week 1. It's still early, still only week 1, and it is Portland State, but have to be pretty impressed and very promising, start the season here for Washington State.
There is no better feeling in football than when you get a pick 6 of 100 yards, because that means the offense was probably going to score. That's 6 points for Portland State. That's a 12-point swing going from instead of 30 Portland State as we expected. There'll be another kickoff, and it'll probably be out of the back of the end zone. And, yep, there it is. Christian Grubb at this point isn't even looking at it. He's just walking off the field as soon as the ball's kicked. Pretty nice luxury to have to avoid any kick return touchdowns if you can just kick it out of the back of the ends every time and give them 75 yards to go. With 2.5 minutes to play, there will be a 2-minute timeout in 36 seconds. This Portland defense only has 1 timeout remaining. So if I want to go down and score, they're probably going to have to do it pretty quick because their style of play takes a lot of time off the clock. So Sachere will come back out. Portland State last year starting against Oregon. It's a game that they lost 81-7, and it's not going their way again to start the season. So delay a game on Portland State before they even got a snap off. That is pretty embarrassing right now for Portland State because they've had a lot of delay of games. It doesn't look like they're necessarily ready for this, first game of the season. They've had a lot of delay of games on special teams. They've had delay of games and false starts on offense, a lot of penalties, not a lot of, good-looking football from the Vikings. From the 20 now, 1st and 15. Sachere to drop back and pass. Out to Chance Miller on the near side, and it's incomplete off the helmet from number 81 out of Canby, Oregon. Originally committed to Air Force, flipped his commitment to Portland State, scored the lone touchdown a year ago against Oregon in their 81-7 loss. Fellow Canby alum Ronan Gay, number 28 on the defense, plays safety for Portland State. On the other Canby, influence on this team is the A.J. Schlatter, a scholarship award winner. Slade Schufelt, number 96 on the defensive side, the defensive end. 2nd and 15. Sachere slips as he was trying to take off on a quarterback draw, losing 5. And Portland State is just imploding. 2nd and 20, or 2nd and 15 turns to 3rd and 20 from the 15-yard line. Washington State's defense is so far looks like they're just intimidating Portland State, and they're probably going to take this down to the 2-minute timeout. They have 4 seconds to snap.
Yeah, just an utter domination on both sides of the ball here from Washington State. The 3, it's not even it's just been an absolute domination from Washington State here.
42-10, 2 minutes to play in this second quarter. This game is going as we expected. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Not going their way. Down 42-10 with 2 minutes to play in the second quarter. It's 3rd down and 20. Dylan, what have we seen so far?
Yeah, well, we've seen on both sides of the ball, offense and defense, just an outstanding display from Washington State. Offensively, things have just clicked right away. The rushing attack has gotten going. We've seen Chris Hudson get involved early. Of course, Kyle Williams has been a difference maker, as he always is. And it's a very on the Portland side of things. It just seems like it's Dante. And pretty much he's doing everything, and no one he's getting no production from his receivers or they had a little bit of a rushing attack early in the first quarter, but the Cougs have been able to maintain that.
Yeah, so on that 3rd down and 20, they ran a swing pass to Quincy Craig, and he got up the sideline for about 12 or about 8, and it'll bring up 4th and 12 now. Nowhere close to the first down sticks. They almost got back to the original line of scrimmage before that delay of game penalty drove them back, and then the sack. Now it'll be Thompson to punt it away. Anthony Freeman back deep to return. This punt is shanked off the right foot of the punter, and that is not a good punt. Everything going wrong for Portland State. It's Murphy's Law right now, and it's Washington State's offense who will come back out. And the Portland State defense has to be Wayshawn Parker, Leo Pulasiu have just been bouncing off tacklers all game.
Lapses in the with Wayshawn Parker earlier is he was on his own island over there, at the 40-yard line, and then that was enough room for him to just take it to the house after. So
Mateer goes out quickly to Chris Hudson on the far sideline. Pass is caught, and a gain of about 7 to the 40-yard line.
This Washington State offense is just really getting whatever they want out there. Mateer looks as comfortable as can be out there. No really sign of pressure at all from the interior lineman.
Mateer takes off, and he's got a lot of room. John Mateer, touchdown, Washington State. Easy touchdown for John. There was only a minute and a half left in the second quarter. They got the ball like 20 seconds ago, and they're already scoring.
It's effortless, yeah. Like I said, there's no from the Portland State defense. There's just no pressure on the quarterback. Mateer was able to escape the pocket and just slip through a hole, and there was no one. Again, the secondary collapse and just no one to take down Mateer.
Janikowski on for the extra point.
This time not with the arm, with the legs. Mateer's having himself a day. Wow.
49-10. Janikowski puts through another extra point.
What is that? 5 touchdowns? 5 touchdowns?
5 throwing touchdowns for John, or 5 touchdowns for John Mateer. 4 throwing touchdowns plus the Wayshawn Parker rush touchdown accounts for all 49 points for Washington State. They did go for 2 earlier, and Billy Revere made the excellent swinging gate catch and run into the end zone. And that's why we're at 49 and not 50. And then the other reason we're at 49, Janikowski didn't even get a chance to kick the last extra point as the hold and snap were not executed properly, and they didn't even get the kickoff. So Janikowski's still perfect on the PAT attempts that he actually gets to kick if they gave him a chance to return. Alvarez and Grubb, though, back deep to return if that is the team's unit to not kick it to the guys to give them a chance to return it. 49-10, minute and a half to play in the second quarter. Almost to halftime. Washington State, can they get their starters out? I mean, they should. That kick is way out of the end zone. That's a touchback. They should be able to get their starters out, and they should get a lot of guys experience in this game. This is one of those games in the Thursday practice, you start practicing some of those guys that don't typically see a lot of playing time, and the coaches, their whole speech is that you don't want to play in this game. You want to get these guys a chance. Everybody should get at least some of these guys, and a lot of these players proving that they should get a starting job, but also the starters have also proved that they should keep their job. So it's still going to be a tough road for Washington State to figure out their depth chart for next week in Texas Tech, which is just going to be a whole, making it up to about the 30. It's a nice run. So a minute 21 to call instead of just getting to halftime. Maybe they want to practice some things, some situational football. Even though the score reads 49-10, you can still get better. What have you seen from this defense that stood out to you in these first 2 quarters, only allowing 10 points? Obviously getting the pick 6 is huge. Is there anything that stands out that's showing you why they're doing so good?
Yeah, well, I think honestly, there's just been Sastre never really has any time to throw. There's making sure none of those like receivers, like we talked about, Brandon Alvarez or Jalen Lynch are breaking free, and it's just been it's been havoc for Sastre, because Sastre just really as much as he nothing there really, and
2nd and 4. Swing pass to Quincy Craig, catches it out of the backfield, and he's thrown down by Andrew Edson after the first down gain. Yeah, I think you're right. The pressure is something that is really important to have on Sastre and any quarterback, because John Mateer is not getting any pressure, and he's lighting it up. He's thrown for 234 yards. Sastre is under pressure, only 85 yards. That tells you everything you need to know. 1st and 10. Sastre drop stack to pass. This time he actually has some time, and the pass is deflected by Steve Hall, incomplete. That pass intended for Terrence. So it's, a multi-level defensive effort. The defensive set now for Portland State on 2nd and long. 3 receivers to the near side. The ball's on the far hash. 2 receivers to the top. By number 81, Chance with the catch out to the 35-yard line. Trickeration from Portland State. A double pass
Had to switch something up there.
Yeah, got to bring out the trick plays to even get anything going on offense. And it was offsides on the defense as well, so it was a free play. So even if it was picked off, there's a free play for Portland State. That time it actually works out in their favor. And Chance Miller, he's known as a great route runner, but he also has some pretty secure hands. So 48 seconds to play, 49-10 the score. 1st and 10 at the 35 for Portland State. Sacheret heels on the 40. Takes a snap. Crossing patterns over the middle. Sacheret under pressure. Going to roll out to his left. Tucks and runs and picks up about 6, maybe 7 on the play, and it'll bring up 2nd and short. Good run by Sacheret, avoiding a sack. A lot of pressure put on that time by the defense. Number 99, Bryson Lamb, was the primary pursuit player for Washington State. 6'2", 228 pounds from Bellingham, Washington. He played in 2 games last year, didn't accrue any sacks, so he was looking for his first there. He's hungry. 2nd down, Sacheret to pass again. Going to fire this one towards the end zone, and that's way too long. Down 4. Portland State, 27 seconds to play in this first half. Down by 39. Eric Denham was the intended target. And it looks like Sacheret might be injured on the play. He is down and hasn't gotten up. Training staff out to look at Dante Sacheret. Hope the kid is okay. He is so fun to watch. Has his hands on his helmet right now. Still on the ground. He's laying at about the middle of the field at the 30-yard line. I didn't see what happened. Did you get a chance to see maybe you get rolled up on?
Yeah, I think what happened. I think what happened was when he I think someone might have fell on his.
The backup quarterback, William Haskell, seeing your star, your leader, on the ground, not getting up. We'll take a quick break and be. .4", 200-pound junior from Glendale, Arizona. He was the offensive scout MVP at Washington last season, so he's got some talent. Fires it underneath this nice towards the end zone, going back for the tight end, and it's incomplete.
Looks like there was a flag there, though.
Flag down on the field. See who it's on. Portland State has had a problem with penalty. Bring up an easy 1st down and a free 15 yards for Portland State. They're going to spot this at about the 11-yard line. So it was half the distance to the goal and left to right. Haskell. Heels on the 16. Looks like 0 coverage for Washington State. No safeties on the field. Haskell, slant pass over the middle, caught, touchdown, Portland State. William Haskell to Brandon Alvarez, and a touchdown for the Vikings. That's from William Haskell, the backup quarterback, having more success through the air than the starter did. With 8 seconds to play in the first half, Portland State gets a touchdown right before the half. Huge momentum play.
Yeah.
Although the score is still pretty lopsided, a really nice job by Portland State not giving up and just taking it into the extra point. Hold by Alvarez, and it is good. So 9-17 the score, 8 seconds to play. Portland State with a really nice drive. And the roughing the passer, kind of a big play in that drive.
Yeah.
Kept things alive for Portland State and gave them a free half the distance to the goal. And then William Haskell does a really nice job. He looked really comfortable in the pocket. There was not a lot of pressure on him. Dante Sacheret got to be pretty in the half. He's doing everything he can for Portland State, and just nothing was working. So kind of exciting to see Portland State score a touchdown with the backup quarterback. That gives them.
Hasn't played a snap this year, and really answered
for the few possessions they gave up some points, but that's going to happen in a football game with Portland State the way they play offense. Uribe kicks it, and the ball is going to be returnable at the goal line for Leighton Smithson. Brings it out towards the far sideline, and he's met by Peyton Wing, and he's taken down at about the 19-yard line. Most likely going to be a knee, maybe a run up the middle. Just get the guys to halftime. Really, it is pretty sparse now. I would expect it to be even less by the time the second half starts. So John Mateer and the offense comes out, and they are going to probably just take a knee. And they're in the victory formation. Game's not over, but halftime is here. 49-17. The halftime score, Washington State. 395 total. Will we see him in the second half? We will find out in roughly 20 minutes. 17, Washington State. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse.